Hey, Ange.
Hey, Les. How are you?
All I can say is wow. All right. Do you know why I'm saying wow?
Because of how we set up. Listen, we have been recording so much in different states that when we come together and start recording in the same place, it is a comedy of errors.
Oh my gosh. It's like Lucy and Ethel set up a recording studio. And every time we set up together, it takes us 2.5 hours.
It takes us 2.5 hours, but it gets better every time because right now it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing.
But it's so frustrating and I'm so tired.
Don't get frustrated. You're fine.
Okay.
So, introduce us, Les.
I'm Leslie. That's Angie. And this is another episode of Black Boomer Besties from Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
And Ange, you know what else it is?
What?
It's the start of our third season.
It's the start of our third season.
So I think we're extra
excited.
giddy.
We're giddy. We don't get to hang out together too much. And we're here for our reboot week. Almost week.
Reboot week. Wellness week.
And, I like that. And so I am going to tell on Leslie a little bit.
Goodness.
Just a little bit, right? So y'all know that she made a commitment to me to not make this a big box store time, right? I mentioned to her, and she knows me, that it doesn't take much for me to go with it because I enjoy it too. But Leslie is not the best accountability partner when it comes to...
I tried so hard.
Wait, if you guys even heard about what she said was a necessity, we gotta have it. We gotta have a table, a side table to go between. I get it that the pool is in place.
Let me just go back.
Go.
My new pool build that was supposed to take 90 days took a year and a half to happen.
It was tragic.
And we're at the point where the water is in the pool. We're in Florida. So what do people do poolside? They lie out, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't have reclining chairs.
She had chairs,
so
but they weren't reclining chairs. I'm just making
we lay
it
out.
plain.
You can't lay out in a sitting upright chair.
Agreed.
So we had to get reclining lounges, chase chairs.
Agreed. Okay.
And let me just ask
Speak
one
the truth
question.
and shame the devil.
Just one question,
Okay.
Ange.
Yes.
When you're lying, picture this.
Sicily.
Aruba. The Bahamas. Just picture the Mai Tai in your hand. When you're lying poolside and the person brings you your drinks,
Yep.
where do they put the drinks? At the table in between the chairs.
Not always.
They never put it on the concrete.
Okay.
As a result, the necessity she speaks of was the table. So it was okay diverting to buy the lounge chairs.
Right.
But she really got upset with me when I insisted that we get a table. That was the sore point for today.
No. Kind of, but the sore point was we ended up getting 3 chaise lounges, fine, but there was other shopping going on in between. She looked at other chairs, she looked at different, and yes, the table, I'm like, Leslie, do we need a table? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's a must-have.
Wait a minute.
Like, whenever
Picture
I
Aruba.
whenever I go to the beach It's not uncommon that my drink ends up, in the sand. It's not a big deal. This is not sand. This is a stable, beautiful, brand new, what is it called?
Pavers.
Pavers. Flat, nice.
Clean. Let's agree to disagree. I needed a table. And
Okay.
as soon as the table was placed between the chairs, whose drinks and food went on it?
Yours.
Yours.
Hey,
Anyway.
Here's another thing. How did the stuff get home? In your convertible.
Is this how we're gonna?
Listen,
Is this how we're gonna start our season 3 with a bickering?
I just wanted people to understand, since we mentioned that we were going to be doing this, and we talked about accountability and being partners in upholding our commitment to rebooting and not getting caught up in fixing up the house and so on and beautifying the house. And I just wanted, to let people know that we didn't start off that way. But anyway, we're going to turn it around. Right, Liz?
Absolutely.
Shenanigans are over. Oh, let me also mention, she tried to sneak out of the house before I woke up.
That's true.
This is what I'm dealing with. She's not used to me waking up because I'm a night owl. And so I like to get my 6-7 hours sleep. So I don't wake up as early as Leslie. But I decided to wake up early. And she was ready to go. So she could go.
My plan was to leave and return before you woke up. I was up at 6 o'clock every day. Dressed. And one day she texted me, "Where are you?"
It's like, I was trying to get home before you woke up.
No, I said, I had to get something for Mom.
Right, yes. Anyway, so that's how it's been, but it's still amazing to be together, and it's still fun and all of that stuff. So anyway, one of the things that we have been wanting to talk about, Leslie recently sent me an article about a form of partnering called
Sologamy.
SOLO, solo, GAMY, sologamy. And it is what it sounds like. It is making a decision that you're going to be with yourself. Right?
Actually marry yourself.
And so it brought to our memory that we've wanted to talk about.
We've been talking about
partnering and different ways of being in partnership with other people, what that could look like, how there could be so much variety, different from the what is very well known, which is marriage, monogamous marriage, and heterosexual marriage. But there's so many other ways to be in partnership with, I moved my hands a lot. She's trying to.
The mic is getting picked up with your hand vibration.
Oh, I see. Okay, I got to do this. Oh. Anyway, and so we wanted to kind of talk about this out loud with you guys to see how, what you thought about some of the opinions that we have about this.
Yeah.
So do you want to jump in?
Well, yeah, I want to jump in. And I'm going to say, for people who know me personally, they know that my husband and I have been together for 32 years. So we've been together a long time. So I've been in a monogamous, committed marriage for quite a while. But it hasn't, my marriage vows has not constrained my thinking about other ways of partnering. For example, what was really attractive to me was when I've heard about best friends actually marrying. And this idea, and literally marrying,
Right.
because in many states now, most states, I think, if the best friends are same-sex
Right.
friends, then same-sex marriage is legal in probably all of the states by now.
Yeah.
But I don't know about Texas. But anyway. But these relationships, when I say best friends marrying, I am saying they are platonic friends. They are not in romantic partnerships at all.
Right.
But the point about marriage that I think is very vital is that marriage has become both a legal and a religious construct.
Correct.
And because of that, it has been so limited and has excluded so many viable, different, useful forms of partnering. So, for example, let's just say if I were otherwise married, but you know how close the two of us are.
And not only close, how well we mesh when
And
it
get
comes to
along.
things that are important in life, right?
Right.
Leslie's really good at finances, for example. I'm really good at I don't know what, but not finances. So
You're
things
so
like
good
that
at
is what I mean.
unfinances. But the point is, I certainly would want you to have access to my medical records and my medical care.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I certainly would want you to have access to my financial accounts
Right.
to handle things if you needed to.
Right.
In the absence of marriage, a marriage certificate that comes with it all of its legalities and abilities, there is no way for you to make decisions for me if I were incapacitated and otherwise had no one else to do that. You absolutely know what my wishes would be.
Right. And I would want to honor them.
And you would be able to and want to honor them, but unless I specifically name you, you would not be able to have any part of it. I think that's wrong.
Yeah.
I think that's wrong.
Yeah.
The other thing that I'll say before I forget is that, as I understand it, same-sex relationships or same-sex marriages, the main reason for the need for such a marriage recognition and certificate was in order to confer to these couples the same types of things, laws, legalities, abilities, access that the married
or something like that.
that married couples get automatically.
Right.
You know, so remember, it's almost like an upload of all of the things that come with with the ceremony of marriage.
Right. So it merges the religious and the legal.
Well, I'm not that interested in merging the religious beliefs per se.
But that's what marriage, the way that we know it, it merges the religious and the legal, right?
Well,
right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never, as a Christian, I've never thought that Christians own the concept of marriage.
Understood. Yeah. Agreed, actually.
And so often we say that's unbiblical if same-sex people, or marriage should only be a cisgender male and a cisgender female. Oh, says who?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And when I think about, says the Bible, whether or not that's my personal belief, what about atheists? You know, what about those people who don't believe in Christianity in the way that I do? Aren't they allowed to love and form a union?
And have all of those rights, responsibilities
Conferred to their union as I do?
Right.
Or do they need to be in a hospital dying without their loved one having access to those things just because they didn't subscribe to?
Right.
You know?
No, I get it.
It's
One of the things that came to mind as you talked about this too is that the idea that we have now that marriage is a love marriage, right? That all marriages, and we know that in some societies there are still arranged marriages, right?
Oh, yeah.
Arranged marriages. And so the idea, it used to not be the case, even in what we call Western society, where marriage was for love. Marriage was for the union of families. It was to keep money in certain families. It was
very often it used to be intermarriages, interfamily,
exactly.
familial marriages.
The idea of marrying for love and intimacy is fairly new. And so when Leslie talked about partnerships, and I'm trying to make a distinction where it's required between partnership and marriage, right? And I think, Les, you are bringing in marriage because marriage is the way in our society through which you have the rights to act on behalf of another.
Right.
It has to be through marriage here.
And only in the last couple of years have states made legal that civil unions would also have access to health care benefits or things like that. But it's not very common.
Some states do that?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
You're, again, a legal civil union partner.
Right.
Can be on your health insurance, can share your health insurance if you are deemed a legal union.
Right.
But again, I don't know, it gets so hairy.
Yeah, so Leslie and I have joked more often than her husband may like. Because here's the thing, right?
Go ahead, finish the sentence. We've joked that for quite a few things, but one thing, we joke that we should be married. But here's why. Before you guys start, I'm not into polygamy.
Stuff,
while I find you very attractive, I'm not
attracted
sexually
to you.
attracted to you. You're all right, but not my type.
Exactly. But here's the thing. But what's funny is, this is how Leslie and I, how we're in relationship with each other. Right?
Wait, before we even say about how we're in relationship with each other, can we talk about what our hands look like when we met at the airport?
Okay, so
this is how we're in relationship with each other.
Listen, guys, if you've ever been to get a manicure, whether you've had one yourself or you've accompanied someone who had a manicure, you know that there are a gazillion different color nail polish.
They point you to the wall and say, pick one.
Or they hand you a
color wheel,
whatever, or a stack of fake nails with all these colors. 1,000,006. Leslie and I come out of the airport. I flew in. We arrived.
We arrived together,
right? But we
and
didn't.
I think it was Monique that said,
"Look at their hands. Look at how. Look at our nail polish. How similar. It's ridiculous. This happens all the time. It's ridiculous. No, our toes are not the same color, but
we
crazy.
Pick the same.
Okay,
so we should be married.
So here's what I want to say. Not because of that. I don't understand why one would not want to be in a partnership with someone who is different from them, who has different strengths, who has even different likes and dislikes to a certain degree, right? The example is, so as I said, Leslie is very organized. You guys know this about her by now, right? And there's certain things that she does well, and she enjoys doing it. She loves doing laundry. Oh my God, she loves doing laundry.
And grocery shopping.
Grocery shopping, cooking. These are not things that I enjoy. These are not things that I enjoy. If I were to be able to be in partnership with someone who enjoys the things that I would rather not do, and that I enjoy the things that they would rather not do, perfection. But it's oftentimes when the sexual intimacy and those things start to come into it, where I think these
people start going
pretty clear ideas of what works start to get really muddied, and but that's why it's like we should get married, because we just have the synergy between us. And it's not just about you and I. The synergies between people and what is required to have a beautiful life could be achieved by being in partnership, or because of how our society is constructed, in marriage with people who just work with you
without the judgment of what gender they are,
exactly,
why they are together, what race they are,
what's weird
what
about
they
it,
look like,
exactly.
And obviously we're speaking a little tongue in cheek about us getting married, although we have talked about that. But what the reason that this topic is interesting to me is because so many people have opinions about unions and who should be together, look at those people, and we don't like same-sex marriage, and we don't think that transsexual unions and what have you, transgender unions, are appropriate or valid or whatever. But traditional marriage does not work very well.
Well,
when
you're talking to someone who has been married twice, divorced twice.
So, and you in each case was married to a male.
Yes.
Who you partnered with great intentions and have you. And so many marriages come together for that reason and for whatever it is that it doesn't work.
Right.
But we've never, as a society, in my opinion, been brave enough to think about other types of unions.
Right.
I'll give you just an example.
To think about it, but to embrace other types of unions.
Right. Well, even consider first, and then think about the merit of and then embrace.
Right.
So, for example, we've also spoken about, and this is also in the news these days, of older people, married or single, coming together in households of several people, let's say in a compound, but co-living together.
We're talking about communists.
I don't mean. No. You communist bastard. No.
Okay, sorry.
See, I was being serious, and here you have
sorry,
to go.
Go. I've been watching too much of A Place to Call Home. Okay, go.
So what I'm saying is another way of partnering or living together, and these households work well. They form these I'll use the word pods, because from COVID remnants. But multiple groups of people sharing resources. Because in our older years, very many of us have limited resources.
Right.
Very many of us have health concerns. And believe it or not, a lot of people are lonely.
Yeah.
You know, so these are another types of unions or partners that work together and work well, you know.
Right.
And notice we haven't even started mentioning polygamous relationships and those types of things. And you know, we don't necessarily have to.
Yeah, because I don't know a whole lot about that topic. To me, it's just if something makes sense, right? If it works, then why are we so against it? Because it's so evident that the ways that we think things ought to be doesn't work a whole lot of the time. For whatever reasons, whether it ought to work or not, it doesn't work. And so what you're saying is that people should be resigned to being miserable if it doesn't work the way that it ought to work, that it's that way or nothing. And that's the kind of thing from someone who, as Leslie mentioned, went into two marriage unions with the best intention that they would last a lifetime, and they did not. And so, and there was a lot of mental work that I had to do because my faith tradition is that marriage is supposed to be a lifelong union. And so there was a lot of kind of unpacking that I had to do because I know what my heart was. I know the intentions of my heart. And I know that I did not take divorce lightly. And so, well, if it happened to me and I did everything that I knew how to do for it to not end in the ways that they did, does that mean that that's it? I don't get to be in partnership any other way? You know, should I just keep trying that, or do I try something else that may actually work better than what has failed? Would people encourage in any other situation? Okay, try it again.
Yeah.
Or you're just not made, or you don't deserve to be in partnership because you keep getting it wrong. You know what I mean? And that's something that I had to work on, kind of figuring that out, and you know, what happens next, and is it me, and all of those things. And at the end of the day, I know that I am to have joy in my life, and so I'm looking at other ways to be in partnership.
Great segue. I was just going to ask you.
To be in partnership.
So what are you up to, Ange?
Oh my gosh.
I know you've done online dating.
I have, and I am doing online dating. I don't love it, to be honest. I don't love it.
Listen, and if I had to start dating right now,
you would know what to do.
I would have
You
no
would
idea.
not know what to do. I don't love it. Here's why. I don't know that I really and truly have time. You know, I do my morning writing, and in a recent morning writing, I really asked myself, do you really have time? What would it look like if you met someone and you started dating? What would that look like? Okay, you'd get dressed and go to dinner. And I kind of wrote out some of these scenarios. And to be perfectly honest, I'm like,
Not so much.
I'm not sure that.
But maybe you need to find someone who's busy like you are.
Yeah, but then what? Then you don't go out. So anyway, it was like, it was, yeah. And so I am on, marriage app. I can say which one, right?
When they start sponsoring us.
I've only tried one, and I have been on and off it for a while.
It rhymes with Glee Marmalade.
So stupid. Harmony A. And here's another thing. I'm very disappointed in the ways that it happens to be. My choices so far have been Black men. And I have been pretty disappointed in what that has looked like for me, in the ways that Black men have approached me, in the ways that they have made commitments and then pulled back, in the ways that in the ways that they are willing to allow an amazing person like me to just kind of, it's like, what else would you, how good is your decision making? And I'm not saying this from a place of being very kind of, self-absorbed or anything like that, right? But at the end of the day, I'm someone who does a lot of internal work, and I am at a place right now where I'm pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. And so I have a lot of grace, and no one can tell me different. I have a lot of grace. I understand. I don't expect people to, be anywhere close to perfect. I think people ebb and flow.
But Ange, you've met nice men and men who have enriched and added to your life and to your perspective.
Yeah.
And while they did not necessarily last very long or forever or as long as you may have wanted, from your faith journey and beliefs, and you and I agree in this regard, that these relationships came to you and went appropriately.
Right. Yeah.
So
Sure.
I don't believe that I'm hearing you saying that you're asking for something different from those relationships, because you left there. I don't know.
So what I start out from a place of trust. Some people, you've got to work really hard for them to trust you, and then you're in. Me, I start out, I trust you until you prove me wrong. And so I think because I'm wired that way, if you say that things are this way, I'm going to believe you until you show me that they're not.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
And so, and what the last serious relationship that I was in, it was just the most disappointing relationship of my life. To be honest, I'm still kind of processing through why things went the way that they went, why they went south. I just don't understand. I just don't understand. It's like you expect people are going to follow through, and then when they don't, it's just really jarring. So that's why I'm saying that I have been really disappointed in the ways that the people that I have not only dated, I don't even know what dating means.
I don't either. I have no idea.
But I don't know what dating means. But what I'm talking about are people who have gotten together with me and for the intention of seeing whether a relationship can flourish. It's just been, I don't know, it's just.
But
it's just
I also
nothing.
recall that in your work through that relationship, you concluded that you kind of understood what might have gone wrong, or, well, certainly that, but
Yeah.
also the utility of the relationship.
So what, I'll just be clear, I don't understand what went wrong. What I came to rest on is what happened wasn't, there was a lesson other than what, there was a lesson that the other person was to learn.
Right.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? God
Yeah.
uses you.
Yeah.
And in that situation, there was a lesson that that person had to learn. I wasn't the focus of the big lesson.
I understand.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
And I'm okay with it because God, you know, you the man.
You know yeah.
But yeah, so it's I am, you know, it's kind of like when, especially when you get on these dating apps, you have to be very, I want this and not that. You know, it's kind of this, you know, not necessarily binary, but this, not this, that, a little bit of this, and this type of thing. So you have to kind of say what you want. And it got me thinking, well, are there other configurations that
Right.
that may work? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And are there other configurations
Configurations like same-sex unions?
possibly, but it's not coming from any particular attraction. I'm attracted to love. I'm attracted to love. I'm attracted to compassion and partnership and intimacy and caring and trust and forgiveness and grace and mercy. That is what I'm attracted to. And so my wondering is, and that is where I am right now, my wondering is, does it have to come in a package that looks like that? Or can it come in a package that looks like this also? And so the reason why this kind of became like, oh my God, it is because when you're interfacing with these apps, this technology, you have to kind of do that picking. And so I'm like, why do I keep picking this? This one, this doesn't work. This hasn't been working for me. Should I click on something else? So that's kind of where I am right now.
Wow,
As I was telling you earlier today, it's not coming from this, I'm attracted to this and not attracted to that. It's coming from, where do I find a deep sense of partnership and love and care and those things? And I'm wondering whether that package has to look a certain way.
You know, that reminds me of the reality show
What?
with Nick and Vanessa Lachey, Love is Blind.
Oh,
are you familiar with
yeah,
that?
I am. I used to watch that.
So what they attempt to do is take the visual out of it. And I've never seen same-sex partnerships, but they take the visual out of it and try to get the couples to connect just through what they know of each other without looking at race or
size
or hair color or, you know, physical appearance. Really interesting show, you know?
I've seen it a few times.
And it's so funny how when the couples finally commit and then meet, how some of the old isms fall back in.
I know.
You know, like these.
I know,
this
really
I
sad.
remember the first season. It was a really great. Remember the Indian couple?
Yes.
He was a
He was so full
dentist,
of
I
himself,
believe, and she whatever. And they seemed to be so compatible. And he was there because he wanted to fall out of his type.
Yes, right.
And she actually did, and she was a lovely lady, the mother, but he could not let that go.
He kept seeing his auntie or something like that.
But it also takes me back to what you were saying about trying to get outside of type.
Yeah.
And it's so difficult to do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think one way that it may be easier for me to do it is because I've been so willing to try the prescribed way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and because I've not been willing to give up on being in love.
Yeah.
I haven't been willing to do that, and so yeah, we'll see how it goes. I am. I don't even know if I have time.
Well, you gotta make your priorities, you know.
I know. That's true. You're right.
Interesting.
All right. Well,
anything else you want to say about that?
I want to say that I'm happy to be in season 3, and we're gonna keep talking about things that are a little more, I guess,
on
for
our
me,
minds.
On our minds, but a little more maybe undercover. Is that what I want to say? A little more that we wouldn't maybe typically talk about, but
more revelatory.
More revelatory. That's it right there. More revelatory, and but continuing in the idea that the more that we are willing to talk about things, the more that we can be of service to other people who may be thinking about this, who may be afraid to just allow themselves to question standards or expectations or
speak out loud,
or
even
scripted stuff.
And it really takes a bold step to say, you know, I don't want the traditional marriage.
Right.
It's not for me.
Right.
And instead, I'm going to do this, you know, and then to ignore the naysayers,
right,
you know, or the haters.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, that sometimes, as is the case with me right now, it's not even about a decision, I'm going to not do this, I'm going to do this. It's about allowing yourself to wonder, allowing yourself to consider the possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you know, that is the decision. Oh, what
remove
what else?
The restraint.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. What else could be there? Because this is what I know to be true. I am going to have love.
You mean more love other than what I give you? Different love.
I'm going to have different love.
I love you.
I love you too. And so I'm interested. I'm very interested in knowing how it's going to show up for me.
Okay.
So,
and I'm interested in podcasting about it.
We'll keep you posted.
All right, guys. This was another episode of Black Boomer Besties from Brooklyn.